Okay, today we're going to go out and fly to Sanford, Maine. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getting a pilot's license. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, departing runway 8 with a straight out departure to the northeast, Laconia. Okay, we're off. All right, we're headed over to Sanford, Maine today. Probably just going to do a touch and go or a stop and go and then head on back to Laconia as I've got flight lessons later this morning. But I wanted to briefly talk about flight training and getting a license. I just had 2 students the past month get their certified flight instructor rating, so shout out to Riley and Tyler for making that happen. It was a lot of work for them, but they got through it and did a very good job. So I'm very excited to see them get those ratings that they've worked very hard for. But I wanted to talk to anybody that's interested in getting a private pilot's license. Getting a private pilot's license is quite the endeavor. It's not about just learning to fly. It's about learning a lot of stuff about our national airspace, systems, aircraft systems, instruments, regulations, aerodynamics, weather, meteorology, and many, many other factors. Probably about 15 to 20 different topics that really need to be studied. And it takes quite a bit of groundwork in preparation to get your pilot's license. To give you an example, the FAA requires that a private pilot or an instrument, commercial or CFI, take an FAA written knowledge test on their particular rating or certificate they're going after. And that is a comprehensive exam, and it's necessary in order to actually have what they call the check ride at the end of the training. And the check ride is with an FAA designated pilot examiner, or DPE, and what they do is they'll conduct about an hour and a half to 2 hour oral exam and have to go over all topics that were missed or got wrong on the written test. And then they ask you a whole host of scenarios, usually based around a cross-country flight plan that you've put together for them. And if that goes well, then you actually go do your flight. So there's actually 3 phases of getting that license, whether it be private pilot up through a CFI. You've got the written exam to get through, you've got the oral exam to get through, and then the flight portion. And as a result, it requires a lot of studying. And I highly recommend students that are interested in flying start doing the ground studying before they actually get in a plane. Not just because it's so important to get the license itself, but also to save you money. Having a student get into a cockpit who has no experience in what they're doing, lesson after lesson, and you're teaching it for the first time to them in the plane because they didn't study ahead of time for the subject matter, is just a waste of money for the student. They spend a lot of extra time and money doing that. So highly recommend you start taking a ground school, either an online ground school or a ground school in person, and start working to understand that material. So when you get in the flight, in the cockpit, you know what you're doing. You have at least some idea what you're doing. All the maneuvers that you learn and so on will become a lot easier by having that ground study done in advance. In my kind of fantasy world, I'd like to see a student come to me with their FAA written exam done ahead of time. That's most of the time doesn't happen, but I highly recommend it if you're really ultimately trying to save money as you go get your ratings or your certificate. We're actually headed a little bit southeast of Laconia, New Hampshire, as we head down to Sanford, Maine, on the seacoast of Maine. A nice airport. Looking at the foliage out here, there's none. It's all green still. It's still just early September. So our next ground school actually starts a week from now, September 9th, 2024, when this video is filmed. If that is something that interests you, just go to Laconia Flight Academy's website and take a look at it. Again, we offered it both a hybrid mode, both in person and live via Microsoft Teams, and we also record the classes to make sure that if you miss a class for any reason, you can watch it at your own time and convenience. I'll actually leave a link in the bottom of this description of this video, just so you know how to find that particular link for the course. And we offer it multiple times a year, so not relevant, we're not able to do it at this point. You could possibly sign up at a later class. Going right over Sanford Airport here. Atlanta runway 25. Sanford traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning on midfield cross 125, Sanford. And we're beam our spot, power coming back, about 1400 RPMs. Sanford traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning final 25, stop and go, Sanford. All right, we're going to try to drive in at about 60 miles an hour here. That was a great landing. We're going to clean up here. We're going to do a left turn out and go out toward the ocean for a minute. Sanford traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, departing 25 with left turn out to the Sanford. And the gauge is green, airspeed's alive, let's pop it. Now we're going to take a brief flight out over the seacoast here for a minute. I did my multi-training out here, and boy, flying in a Cub versus a multi-engine takes a little bit longer to get out here to the ocean, I'll tell you that. All right, here we are. Looks like we're probably in the Algonquin, York, Maine area here, if I remember right. There may be Algonquin down to our south. Yep, definitely Algonquin down to our south here. I actually haven't made it to the seacoast this year. Hopefully I'll get a chance before the weather gets too much colder. Looks pretty calm out there. Portland approach, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo.
Portland approach, good morning, clear request.
Yes, just departing Sanford, Maine. I'm about 5 miles to the east of it. I'm heading over to Laconia Lake to pick up flight following.
Super Cub 6 Whiskey Romeo, squawk 0356.
0356.
Super Cub 6 Whiskey Romeo, radar contact 4 southeast of the Sanford Airport, verify the altitude.
Currently passing through 2,700 to 4,500.
6 Whiskey Romeo, thank you. The altimeter 3044.
3044. 816 Whiskey Romeo.
Number 6 Whiskey Romeo, traffic's 1 o'clock and a half mile, 2,500 indicated, unverified and types unknown.
Roger, I keep an eye out for it.
816 Whiskey Romeo, that traffic's no factor, additional traffic 10 to 11 o'clock, 3 miles, northeastbound level 5,000, beach 99, maintain VFR at or below 4,500, please.
At or below 4,500, 816 Whiskey Romeo. When I was out over that coast, I was near Class Delta airspace of Portsmouth and Class Charlie of Portland, Maine. I was in between the two of them and near a prohibited area of the Bush Estate. Staying out of that, of course, in all those spaces. But this is just why you need to understand the national airspace very carefully so that you don't violate that airspace and potentially cause an accident or an incident. I picked up flight following with air traffic control so they can be another set of eyes for me here as I'm flying back to Laconia because I know it's busy between those airports.
Number 6 Whiskey Romeo, the altitude is now your discretion.
My discretion, 816 Whiskey Romeo. Air traffic control basically said I could fly any altitude I'd like at this point. They wanted me below 4,500 because of the Beech aircraft that was basically going to be crossing in front of me about 500 feet above me. So if I didn't have ATC flight following, it's just my eyes and ADS-B out or in looking to see for traffic. So that's one of the other things you learn about as a private pilot, radio phraseology, dealing with air traffic control, handling the national airspace so that you fly safely in it. So hopefully you found this video useful, helpful, entertaining. If any one of those worked for you, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel so you get notified on my next video.